Hello everyone, and welcome back. Oh my goodness, it is May now, and I decided we're going to do two simple half square triangle based blocks this month, and I wanted to show you how I make my half square triangles. I usually use the 8 at a time or 2 at a time, and I'm going to show you how I do this. With the blocks we're making, I need 16 total half square triangles, but I'm using a layer cake and a charm pack, so I'm going to show you how I do this. So we take our layer cake fabric and we turn it to the wrong side, and I use this nifty tool. They're very affordable. It's called the Quilter's Magic Wand, but there are other ways that you can do this, and as you can see, this does not fit across a 10-inch block. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my standard ruler, and we could do this the old-fashioned way, and I'm going to draw a line diagonally from corner to corner, very light. I'm using a number 2 true graphite pencil. This one is from Faber-Castell in Germany, and so we have our line. Now if you do it the old-fashioned way, you can sew a 1/4 inch on either side of this line. But I like to sew on the line, so what I'm going to do is, if you'll notice, this has a little mark in the center, and this thing is a 1/2 inch. So what I'm going to do is line it up with my line for a little extra work, and then draw my lines. Then I'm going to scoot this down so I get this perfect 1/4 inch down the middle, and this gives me my perfect 1/4 inch seam lines for me to sew on. I like to follow the lines. I find it easier for me, but we have to do it, since we're going to do 8, we have to turn it and do it the other way as well. And this is just an Omni grid. It's 4 by 12 or 14, I think. I had a nice little Quilter Select one, and I dropped it and a huge chunk came out of it, so I had to go get another one. And I got that one free from the Quilt Show for being a member. So and I took a chunk out, so what I did was I replaced it with that one. Okay, so we're going to line this up. Ooh. And we scoot it down, and sometimes when I'm really fussy, I even mark my seam allowances on my individual pieces, because that way you get really perfect. Perfect And we need to do the other one as well really quickly. And so, and I wonder how all of you are coming with your blocks. I haven't seen any posted, but Facebook has been really weird lately of what it shows and what it doesn't show. So I just wonder how you're coming with your blocks. And see, because I would love to see them, but like I said, I haven't seen any of them, and I just wonder if anyone's doing this with me, and or am I wasting my time? But I'm enjoying it, and I really do like the Kansas City blocks. They're very interesting. Some of them are quite complicated, but in this project, we're not going to do any complicated blocks. Because, like I said, I'm trying to teach many of you how to do your own grid-based patterns so that you don't rely on expensive stuff. And the reason I'm using a true graphite pencil is graphite actually washes out, so it makes it easy. And you can see my lines are not perfect. I have very shaky hands, so that's why I kind of like to mark everything, because like I said, I have shaky hands and very bad vision because of a stroke, and it can, and see, I just did this off again. So, there we go. These are done. So, now what we do is we turn these back over, because that's marked. And I'm going to have to get rid of my cutting mat so that you can see. So we turn these over right side. Together. There we go. And you can, now we need 4 of our charm packs. 1, 2, 3, 4. And what I'm going to do is I also use this. It's absolutely fantastic. It's called Acorn Precision Piecing Glue. And what I'm going to do is put a few dots down the middle. And it doesn't have to be perfect because this easily separates, but you mostly want it in your seam allowance. So what we do is, these are 5 inches. These are 10, the layer cake is 10 inches. So what we do is we line up our corners with corners, lay it down, do our next one, corner to corner, and lay it down, get it all lined up. And then we're going to go across the next way. And we get these lined up. so. Press it down. And then we do our fourth one. And get it all lined up. And everything done. And then this glue is great because it sets with just a little heat. So we take our iron. And we press. The glue will dry. And you'll see little wet dots, and as it gets warmer, the little wet dots will go away. And then what's perfect is, now it's ready for sewing because we can actually pick it up and our pieces don't move. So we do the other one. And 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And it does not take a lot of this glue. A drop does really well. 2, 3, 4. And other than showing you, you can see this goes together really, really quickly. And we press them. There we go. Turn off the iron. Now I'm going to go and sew these, and I'm not going to do that on camera because it's just a simple, I use a 1.8 or a 2 millimeter straight stitch. If I'm using 60 weight or lower piecing thread, I usually use 1.8, but 50 weight, I use a 2 millimeter stitch width. And it's up to you, and it depends on your sewing machine. I like the smaller stitches because then you don't see the thread in the seam when you press open. So I'll see you when I come back. Talk to you later. Bye. Okay, we're back, and I've sewed along the lines. I used a 1.8 millimeter because that's what my machine came up. Now we need to cut these. So I take my ruler, and I'm using my Martelli mat, which is also a very, very accurate mat. 2 inches to 12 inches. So I know this, see, it goes to 12 inches, and I started at 2, so half of that would be 5, but 2 plus 5 would be 7. So I put my ruler on my 7-inch line, and get it very lined up. There. Now we're going to turn it, and again to 2 by 12 which will be 7. And you'll notice when you line it up, it will go down through the crosses of your seam allowances where you sewed crisscross. So there we go. We'll do this one. And 2 by 12. But it just gives you a line to help you line up and get everything straight, because you want these to be accurate. If you're going to spend the time to make it, you might as well make it accurate. Now we've cut 4 5-inch squares. So now what we're going to do is we're just going to take our ruler and line up down the middle here. 1, 2. Three, 4, and these don't even have to be as accurate because this is one of the seam allowances. This is the seam allowance of your squares. So nobody's going to see it. So of your triangles. So. But, like I said, and as Seth calls me a bougie quilter, I try to be accurate as possible. And there we go. And there's 8. And I'll do the others quickly. And what do you... Oh, I wanted to explain this. There's a lot of method. There's one method out there where you sew 1/4 inch around the edge of your 10-inch square. You do not want to do that. And the reason is when you cut these across and you make the 4, when you open this up, this is bias. So unless you are excellent presser, you're going to stretch these triangles out of shape. So that's just the warning that I want to give you. That's why I use the 2 or the 8 method, 8 at a time or 2 at a time. I find 8 at a time I can make a lot of half square triangles really, really quickly. So and also it's good to have this accurate, but it doesn't have to be perfect because I'm going to cut these down to 3.5 for my blocks. So as long as they're okay, close, then it works. You just don't want them. The biggest important part is your crisscross seams being accurate, because that will knock your triangle out of balance. You'll have one side bigger than the other. So, and make sure it's all flat, lined up for easy. And it doesn't take you long, and it because in this video, other than me sewing it, and the reason I didn't film sewing is because we all know how to sew a seam, I hope. And also, I'm working on some other stuff, so I sewed some other blocks while I was in there, so it would have been confusing. So that's why I didn't show you sewing, and as everybody knows, I have several sewing machines, and I personally don't care what you use. I have a little Bernina that I absolutely love. It just sews beautifully. It never misses a stitch. I have an old one and I have a new one. I have a Janome that I have a love-hate relationship with, but just some exciting news. Janome came out with a new machine yesterday. It was announced, and I think I'm kind of interested in it. It has some features that really interest me, but it depends again how much it costs. And then I have a Pfaff that I also love. But if I got this new Janome, I'd have to give up my current Janome and my Pfaff. I am not giving up my Berninas, and it'd be hard for me to give up my Pfaff. So, we have all 16 of our half square triangles cut. So let me lift this up just a little bit to move the mat out of the way so we can press these seams. And we always want to do to the darker side, and because I'm using white, some of it will. So we're going to set the thread, and then we're going to push this open very nicely, and then we're going to just press it. You don't iron it, you just let the heat set the seam and everything, and it just takes you a minute. And there we go. There we have a really nice half square triangle ready to trim up. So I have 16 of these to press, and I'll do another one. And we will come back when I'm squaring these up, so you can see I have several methods to square them. So we'll do that after I press these. But again, you don't need to see me press 16 squares. So see you in a few minutes. Bye. Okay, we're back, and I got them all pressed. So now I'm going to show you several ways to cut these, to trim them up. And you can trim them any size. As you can see, this is one, 2, 3, 4, basically 4.5 inches by 4.5 inches sewn. So I'm going to take it down to 3.5. So we basically have an inch to cut off. So if you look at any of your regular rulers, you'll notice you'll have degree lines. Here's 30, 45, 60. We want the 45. So what we're going to do is we're going to place the 45, and because this one is 4 inches, so we know it's going to be able to cut 3.5 inches. So what you do is you line up the 45-degree angle on your middle seam here, and then what we're going to do is to cut these. And because it's 4 inches, I'm just going to do it the easy way. Do both sides. And then we're going to turn it. And we need to cut these. So we're going to put this 45-degree angle back on here. And if you have a square ruler, that's absolutely perfect, the size you want. And I'm going to show you. So we do that. We match our lines. And see, you'll notice I have that 45-degree angle right on my seam of my half square triangle, and I cut, there. And now we have a perfect half square triangle. But I did that 4 inches because I find this hard and slow, but it can be done if you can't afford to do it. I have my Martelli templates, which are absolutely wonderful. They're in all different sizes. This is the 3.5. So what I can do is I place it corner to corner. Each corner must be on the seam line here and here. And now I can cut this all 4 sides like that. And now we have perfect 3.5, and I can measure it. There we go. 1, 2, 3.5. And then we can come down 1, 2, 1, 2, 3.5. So we have a perfect 3.5 inch square. You can do this, and I find it really quick to use these, because once you lay the template down and you get it lined up, the beauty of Martelli is you can turn on these mats. Also, I have this, the Tucker trimmer, which you can use. And if you notice, the markings, 1/2 inch are on this side, even inches are on this side. And what you do is you put this on here, you line it up straight, and then you turn it to your 3.5, and you put that 3.5 on that seam line, like that. But you have to reline it twice. So we line it up. Like that. And then we turn it. And now we go back to our 3.5. And if it lines up properly, you have your seam line here, but you also have your square up line. So all these should match. And then you cut it. I think the Martelli method is the quickest, but that's me. But we can measure this again, and if we look at our mat, oh, not high enough. So we go 1, 2, 1, 2, 3.5, and we come down 1, 2, 3.5. So we have another 3.5 inch half square triangle, and I can stack it on top of this one, and they're the same size. So that's the easy This I find the easiest way to square up my triangles. And it's great because you just put it down here. You put this in the center, somewhere in the center of your block, as long as you don't have fuzzy cut, but it's going to be a perfect 3.5-inch square. And see how quick this goes? There we go. This is why I really swear by my Martelli. But again, they're not really a budget thing, but they are, because they last forever and that no slip is magnificent. I can also use this to cut squares, and I have little windows that you can put down to make fuzzy cutting. But it just makes it quick, simple, and easy. And while we're here, we'll do another one. And because I believe if we use our tools properly, quilting should be easy. And the only thing I had problems with making half square triangles with was my AccuQuilt, which is supposed to be perfect, but I have it, and I made the half square triangles, and a lot of them are off like 1/8 of an inch. So while we just did that, there's another half square triangle. So I hope this helps everyone, and again, I look forward to seeing your blocks and how your quilt along is going. And we're doing 2 blocks again this month, simple half square triangle blocks. And that will get us caught up to 1 block a month. And we're going to end with 12 blocks. And then at the end, I'm going to show you, lay it out, how to arrange it, how to deal with spacers when you have different sized blocks. So everyone have a great month. And like I said, I look forward to seeing your blocks. Talk to you later. Bye.